acceptable that you refer to the committee as a mob? If you didn't, and that's been reported, perhaps you'll confirm that you're going to ask the reporter to withdraw that because it's not accurate?
So, I've already addressed this.
No, sorry.
Deputy.
I'm asking a question.
I really feel this.
Mr. Watt, sorry. As a member, I've a lot of questions I want to ask. To refer to the committee as a mob, if it's not correct, will you be issuing instructions for that to be changed? Or is it that you said it and you're apologising?
So I will talk to the journalist. I don't know who the journalist was. I don't know who, but I will speak with the journalist when I get a chance.
Did you hear my question, Mr. Watt? Will you be talking to the journalist to say that was wrong and you didn't say that, or will you? Are you apologising for saying it?
So I said already through the chair that if I said it, that I apologise for that, and that wasn't meant to be offensive in any way.
It is offensive to call a committee a mob. Níl ceartnar cór agus ní féidir glacu leis an focail gramasca úsáid maidir leis an coiste seo. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure what your body language means, but I am here as a member to ask questions in the most polite manner possible and to get replies.
And I've answered questions, Deputy, as I have on many occasions.
I'm asking this question now, Mr. Watt. Mr. Watt, I'm asking this question now, and I'm still not sure what you're saying. Did you use the word mob, or did you not? I don't
have any recollection of what I said.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Well, let me put my questions in perspective on this. See, I'm from Galway City, and I welcome the plan. And I welcome what's in the plan in relation to Galway to a certain point. And it's actually very good in terms of the language used, which is what we're going to come back to. Developing and implementing a comprehensive and strategic metropolitan area spatial plan to enable it and transformation and sustainable and so on. I welcome all that lovely language, and language is awfully important. And so what we're here on is about governance, isn't that right? For me, this is about governance and that proper procedures are in place to ensure value for public money. Isn't that right, Mr. Watt?
We're here about governance and value.
Am I distracting you from something more important? No?
Governance are the key questions,
Good, great.
Governance and procedures and so on.
Lovely. So, in relation to your opening statement, and go back on that then. Back in 2015, the new hospital board appeared before this committee prior to my time because of the issues that had arisen before that in relation to the original project. The new board appeared before this committee, and absolute assurances were given to this committee that governance was in place and no issues would arise. They had learned. The way that you're telling us today you've learned in your opening statement, they had learned as well. Did you look at that? No. You did. Well, I did. I took the precaution of reading that and looking at what they said, and then I followed up in relation to what the department was to do. They were produced a report on what had been learned. But such was the debacle before that, and perhaps the Controller and Auditor General might just give us the figure that was written off in relation to the previous hospital site.
Just from memory, around 36 million.
So that was written off, Mr. Watt, 35 million. I don't expect you to go back there, but what I do expect you is to be familiar with that and to know what you learned from that. And so we go forward with a board that gave us assurances, and the board were picked for their expertise. Isn't that right, Mr. Watt? Okay. So again, for today, I went through, and I'm sorry that Mr. Quinn isn't here, but that was your decision. I went through the minutes of this in relation to it, and it's actually some of the comments, and the minutes are minutes. But some of the comments in relation to, let me just be very specific, lack of cooperation of all parties on the 4th of July 2018 is being noted in this, and the guaranteed maximum price hasn't been agreed. It's an ongoing concern from earlier in the year, so nobody knows what the guaranteed maximum price is, and as the months go on and the minutes go on, they keep recording this, and at some stage they get in an expert. Now, Mr. Watt, this is under a procedure that GE allowed a two-stage process, which if I have time I'll come back to. So, board is alerted to high risk in July 18. August, guaranteed maximum price still not done. Now listen to this one. Listen to this, Mr. Watt, when you're ready. Okay? Plan B has been discussed, and it's noted that the board noted the performance of BAM to date during the Phase 1 fell far short of what would be expected of a Tier 1 contractor. Noted minutes. Now, I highlighted these and looked at them, and I thought, what is this board doing and what is this contractor doing? I'm making no comment. I'm asking a question. And we go forward to October, and we notice the board remarked that BAM had not delivered and questioned whether various design and contractor teams are fit for purpose to deliver a project of this scale and complexity. Will I repeat it, or have you got it? The board are noting had not delivered and questioned whether the design and contractor teams, this is October.
These are the board minutes of the National Children's Board.
National Paediatric Hospital Development Board.
I'm not
okay.
a member of the board.
No.
I
understand that. I understand that. I highlight that to show you questions are being raised by the board about their own design team and their own teams that have been procured under the new government's model at great cost and because of their expertise. Private people brought in because of their expertise. And so there are issues all of the time in relation to this new model. And then we go forward to what Deputy Kelly has gone into in the emails. And it looks like they were writing to you even earlier, Mr. Watt. So on the 17th of October, and again, the name is not of interest to me, but it's to the government, that's your office, I presume, Barry O'Brien at per.government.ie. So on the 17th of October, you're getting an email. We spoke briefly a couple of weeks ago when I said we want to brief you on the current position and so on. That's the 17th of October, referring back. And potential cost issues emerging relating to the guaranteed maximum price. You were clearly on notice on the 17th of October, and they were referring to a meeting before that, isn't that right? Sorry, am I not making that question clearer?
So
deeper you're talking.
So there were contacts between the Department of Health, and there was an attempt to establish a meeting.
And so, following up on what Deputy Kelly has asked, why didn't the meeting take place? I'm back now at 17th of October. His time ran out before he could go back to that date. So if we had more time...
So there are many meetings took place between the Department of Health and DEPR during that period.
The meeting took place in November, on the 19th or 21st, you said, when you got the documentation. So this shows that the Department of Health, or whoever it was, Health Executive Department of Health, was desperately trying to contact your office, say there were issues here in relation to costs. No.
There were issues. There were officers deal with the Department of Health on many issues, particularly that time of the year when they're discussing the estimates.
Mr. Watt, did you hear my question?
Yeah.
Am I painting this wrong when I say that the Health Department were desperately trying to contact your office, referring to talking to, not you, but the office a few weeks ago, in relation to issues arising in relation to costs? Is that correct?
Yeah. So they were trying, and the officers said, to please set out the position.
They did eventually.
And then we will have a conversation when the position is set out, which is not unreasonable. And in one of those
emails, then it's noted that there were governance issues on the 20th of November, and from David. Thank you for the material. As you know, in the past, we voiced serious concerns in relation to the governance of the Children's Hospital project, and were assured that arrangements in place were sufficiently robust. And so you're highlighting the fact that you did have concerns about governance. And so when they contacted you then and they were desperately trying to about money, did the alarm bells not ring with you? Did something not go off to say, let's sit down, let's see what's going on here? They're actually contacting us?
So,
and not so now. Just did alarm bells go off?
So when the issue was raised with us about problems with the guaranteed maximum price, we asked the Department of Health for a detailed assessment of where we were.
Eventually, I saw
and
that.
When that assessment came in, officials in my department sat down and discussed it, and the Minister was informed.
Okay, I heard that. I heard it about four times. I leave it for now. That's your answer. I've gone back. I've shown that there was previous contact. In relation to your opening statement, and Mr. O'Brien as well, do I take it that the two-stage process is now gone? Is that a decision by you, or did I misread your opening statement?
Obviously, what has arisen in the Children's Hospital Deputy raises significant concerns about the two-stage process, and certainly a two-stage process which involves committing us to significant spending on preliminary works in the absence of. So that we obviously would not support that type of process again. Unless there's modest spending on preliminary works and also much more certainty around.
I welcome those changes, and I welcome what you're saying. My difficulty with this, throughout all of this documentation, which unfortunately I've read, there's a constant reassurance given that the two-stage process was the way to go.
Yep.
It avoided confrontation, it avoided litigation, it avoided extra costs, and here we are today. Yep. Actually, your note, one of the notes from your department says a 2 billion. Are we now looking at a 2 billion project? That's the quote from your own emails. So your two-stage process, which was allowed, did none of those things. It did none of those things. It didn't avoid litigation, did it?
At the time, the view was by the National Children's Board, which they debated and brought to the Contest Committee, was that if we had done a lump sum contract, that it would have taken many more years to get the detailed design. And given the nature of this project, the complexity of this project, that would have been very difficult to get people to bid for the project. In a traditional lump sum contract, because of the risk would have been too great. And that was so. Yeah. Deputy, clearly it didn't work out as they expected.
Clearly it didn't work out, and it went from something like 650 million. Just Mr. Watt, just 1 second.
But just to say, there's no certainty that a different procurement contract or process would have led to a different price. So there's no certainty about that.
This is the difficulty, that we can get no reassurances from you today, despite your 18-page document, to know that if another children's hospital was built tomorrow, that it wouldn't go from 650 million or whatever the original figure was to 2 billion, which this is, are we looking at a project of 2 billion, quote unquote, from your email. So that's my difficulty. Just in your, finally, am I running out of time? The opening
You're gone 1 or 2 minutes.
Just, you mentioned a few reviews underway in your 18-page statement, and again, it is noteworthy that you don't mention the Children's Hospital and actually itemise what has been learned by your department and how governance needs to be improved from ye in relation to circulars. So my two specific questions is, you talk about a review. We are reviewing Ireland's capital management systems. Who is that? The department, your department? When did it start? Did it start? When is it going to be completed, please?
So in effect,
there's one more. I beg your pardon. There's one more as well, where you've committed to other changes.
So.
Sorry, it's on page 15. My department will conduct a full assessment of how cost estimation. So there's two promises. Have they started? When will they be completed?
So a number of the reviews have started. In terms of the cost estimation, we're now looking at, can we put in place some additional peer review process?
Now, look at page 15 of your opening statement and just tell me, my department will conduct a full assessment of how cost estimation could be improved. When is that going to start?
Yeah, so that is starting now.
Today?
So it's ongoing. So the review of...
Mr. Watt, when did that start? Will conduct.
It's starting. It's ongoing. So we're looking at all the different elements I've set out here.
Mr. Watt, just 1 second. Will conduct a full assessment. Does that mean it has started?
That means it's ongoing.
When did it start?
So it started the last number of weeks. So we've been setting out over the last 2 months, and this work has been ongoing already, a series of reforms, and I've listed some of the reforms here today.
Mr. Watt, you know what would be helpful in your 18-page statement, and even now, and the Chair is looking at me, so I'll stop in fairness to the others. When it started, when it will be completed, when it will be available, that would help to give reassurance. Thanks.
We'll ask you to send that to this committee in relation to that. You can send that on in writing to the committee.